Hi, I'm Sherry Bilo. Welcome to Western Wisconsin Journal. I'm excited to have been invited to start a new segment on this show that focuses on community. For the past year, I've been posting on Facebook and Instagram Humans of Hudson that I meet on the street or in stores or at events. And so I see this as an extension of that project, kind of bringing it to television and going a little more in depth with the people that I speak with. I plan to interview people in our community and help share their stories. Some might be informational or motivational or inspirational, but the point will be to create an awareness, to educate, to make connections, and to build a sense of pride in Western Wisconsin. So my first guest today is Lisa Rambo. I've set the bar really high, and I'm really excited that you're here. Thanks for coming today.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
So we'll start where I first got to know you. I saw you on the TV show Biggest Loser, and I didn't know you personally at that time, but you kind of put Hudson on the map, and I became a really big fan. So let's start there. What year was that?
So I was on The Biggest Loser. It was season 14, so it was 3 years ago.
Okay, and why did you audition?
Oh, well, I auditioned because I had been someone who had struggled with my weight my whole life. For some reason, I just couldn't get my finger on it. I couldn't get it under control. I started to see my kids sort of adopt some of my bad habits, and I knew that I needed to get it under control. So I was a Biggest Loser super fan, and my sister called, and one night she goes, "Why don't you apply? Like, you're exactly what they're looking for."
Did you get on the first time?
So no, it didn't happen the first time.
Okay.
I auditioned for Biggest Loser season 11. The casting call was over at the Minnesota State Fair, so me and my mom, and we went over there, and I stood in the casting call line, and I got a call back, which was a big deal. I went through part of the casting process, and then it just sort of stopped.
Okay.
I got a call when they started casting Biggest Loser season 12 saying, "Why don't you come on out to the Mall of America? We have a casting there." So I was like, well, for sure I'm going to be on Biggest Loser season 12. Like, they're calling me.
Right.
Like, I'm in. So I went over to the Mall of America. I sat around the table, went through the casting process, and I didn't get a call back at all that time. Now, Biggest Loser season 12 is my favorite season ever because I watched looking to see who got my spot. And I was gonna make it happen. So I started, watching the show and moving more and trying to eat right, do the best I could. And I lost a significant amount of weight with Courtney and Jay and Jen and all of them. And when season 13 came around, I didn't have the 100 pounds to lose to get on the show. Okay. Yay for me! Yeah. But then when the casting call came out for Biggest Loser season 14 came out, I had gained all my weight back. I was feeling more defeated than ever. I call myself at that time, I was the most confident, insecure person I knew. Like, I lived beside this facade of strength and just really struggling. And my husband, I came to him and said, "This is what I want to do." And he's like, "Well, let's okay. We said we were going to do it, but you know what? Let's go." And I went out to Chicago. And I stood in that casting call line, and I got the call back, and I got a call back, and we Skype interviewed, and before I knew it, I was in LA for the finals of the casting process. And I'll never forget the day that Allie Sweeney called my name from that auditorium, and I ran down and I got my key. It felt like all my dreams were coming true.
I remember seeing you.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
And I will say that moment changed the trajectory of my whole life.
And I've heard your story of the first day on Biggest Loser, and it's a great story, so I want you to share that.
My first day on The Biggest Loser, well, I was, like I said, I was a Biggest Loser super fan, so I had a lot of really great misconceptions as what I thought was going to happen. I was pretty sure that, you see, I was the girl in high school who, dodged the mile, who took lifetime sports so I could do archery and go bowling. Like, I wasn't physically active at all. I'd never been in a gym before I'd gone to the show ever, never been on a treadmill. I had no idea. But I was pretty sure that when we got there, we would sit in a conference room and we would have an orientation, and this is how things were going to happen. This is when filming is. This is the expectations. I was pretty sure there was going to be a gym tour where they would show us all the equipment and proper form and all this stuff. And that is not all what happened. We got there, we got out of the 15-passenger vans. They're like, all right, we need the guys over here and the girls over here. And we go into these tents and they start fitting us for our wardrobe fitting us for our uniforms. And we come out of the tents, and the sound guys were there. They start hooking on mic packs, and I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. Like, our stuff is still in the van.
Okay.
All
Not
right.
unpacked. Yep.
And this is crazy. All of a sudden, this guy comes down and he goes, "Hi, my name is Stu, and I'm going to be the executive producer for Biggest Loser season 14. You guys all look great. There are some people here who want to meet you. They're right up the hill." Rolling, and he walks away. We're like this now. So we all start walking up the hill to the Biggest Loser gym. And it was really surreal. Like, is this really happening? We get to the top, up to the top of the hill, and there they are, Bob and Jillian and Delvette. And now I was a Harper girl. Like, I just wanted Bob Harper. Like, one of my Biggest Loser goals was to be Bob Harper's favorite, right? So I'm walking up, and I'm like, okay, I see these posts, and they're all we get to see whose team we're on. And so I walk right up to Bob's, and I'm nodding, and all of a sudden I start to sweat, and because I'd been having night terrors that I was going to be on Jillian Michaels' team for months in the casting process.
I would too.
And I was like, I don't know if I can do this. So I look the next list, and I'm not on Jillian's team. I'm like, okay, I can handle Delvette, which at the end of the story was the greatest thing ever. He is an amazing man of God and walked me through an amazing journey. Anyway, we're standing at the stairs. They throw us our team colors. We change our shirts, and we go into the gym. Like, we're going to start, like, we're working out now. Sudden fear comes over me. But then we get there, and Delvette says the worst words I've ever heard. He looks at Jillian, and he goes, "I'm going to take these 3 high school students outside."
Because that was the season they
The only season that
Okay.
there was ever high school students
All right.
on. And so they took them out of the gym to work out with them one at a time. The trainers all took turns training them. He goes, "Jillian, why don't you take my team?" Now my biggest fears of the whole casting processes are now coming to life. I am now going to be trained by Jillian Michaels, and I have no idea what I'm doing. So she goes, "All right, red team, all right, white team," up on the treadmills, and I find myself scooting all the way to the end, trying to get just out of the sight lines. I'm on the end. She's like, "All right, need you at the Mach speed of 3." So we're all on the treadmills. We're all going. And she goes, "All right, 3.5." She goes 3.5. All of a sudden, people are starting to fall off the treadmills. This is getting crazy. She goes, "All right, get back." She's yelling at him to get back on, and we're running, and people's knees are blowing out, and they're like, "We can't do it." The big guys keep falling, and they can't move, falling so many times they can't move to get out of the way of the treadmill. They're starting to bleed, and I'm like, this is crazy. Like, there's crying, and people are talking about quitting, and there's bleeding, and I'm like, this is crazy. Jillian Michaels starts yelling at the top of the world, "This is my gym," and she's gonna kick people out. I'm like, I don't even know what's happening. I look across the way, and there's Bob Harper, right, with his team, and I believe it was Michael Dorsey. He throws his medicine ball up in the air, and he throws up all over the ground. I'm like, oh my word, this is nuts. There's crying and bleeding and throwing up and passing out, and I don't even know what's about to happen. Then Jillian Michaels, she comes down, and she's standing right in front of me and Jackson, and she goes, "All right, red team, let's show them what you got." I'm like, I don't even know what to do. I look at Jackson. He's starting to look faint. She's like, "All right, red team, I need you to up your speed. Incline 2. I shoot this look at Joe. I'm like, this thing inclines. I didn't even know the treadmill inclined. Like, this is stupid, right? So I'm trying to play with the buttons to get it inclined. I notice out of the corner of my eye that Jackson's eyes are now starting to roll in the back of his head. Like, just keep your eyes open, buddy. He then passes out cold. Boom, boom. He is passed out behind me. Jillian Michaels is screaming in front of me. I'm trying to figure it all out. I'm starting to get this huge fear. Like, what did I just get myself into? Like, I don't know if I can actually do this. I don't know what's going on. And I kept thinking, just don't fall on Jackson. And everything starts to go into slow motion. The crying, the bleeding, the quitting, the yelling, everything starts to go into slow motion. And I get this calm, and I hear, do the best you can. You know, all you can do is the best you can do. Lisa, relax. All you can do is the best you can do. And if the best you can do has you passed on the floor or crying or feeling like you're going to quit, just do your best. And everything became easy after that. I decided I'm just going to show up here. I'm going to do the best I can with what I got, and I'm just going to see what happens. I'll tell you, I found this isn't only true in working out, but in all areas of my life, and being a parent and a mother and a teacher. Like, if you will just show up, do the best you can with what you've got will get better and better and better. And before you know it, you're doing what you thought you could never do.
Great words. So you lasted how many weeks on the show?
I lasted 5 solid weeks on the show.
And then you got sent home. I think sometimes they vote people because they think they can make it at home, and so, right,
Yep, so
or they have a better chance at home.
There's a lot of reasons why people get voted off, right? One is because you don't think you can beat them, or two is because you think that they're going to do well when they get home. A lot of reasons, but I made it week 5, and then my team had to go into a really hard vote. And I knew there was some tight bonds going on there, and luck of the draw, I think. And because, and Joe he goes, you know what, you're a woman of great strength, and I know that you're going to do great things when you get home. And I got voted off, and I got sent home.
So what was it like then when you came back?
Okay, the voting off process is really tough. You pack your bags. You don't get to say goodbye to any of the cast members. The voting off process happens like at 9, 10 o'clock at night, and I was actually at the airport by 11 a.m. the next morning. It's fast and furious. You go through a gamut of emotions. You go from not seeing anything in the outside world to everything really quickly. You go through emotions of feeling like a failure and defeated. And I will tell you that I got picked up by my husband at the airport with just the words of like, come on, like, we got this, let's go home and do this. And I came home, and my family got behind me. But what was amazing is, like, this community got behind me. Like, I even get teary thinking about, like, what Hudson, like, the way they got behind me and backed me, and, you know, the support at not only, you know, Riverfront, but Eric at Victory for You and the YMCA. Like, I felt extremely backed by not only the fitness world in this community, but by fans, and it's just incredible. It's incredible what Hudson has to offer, and I feel blessed to be here.
What did you say about being Dorothy? I love that.
Yeah, it was kind of like the Dorothy effect. I had 5 solid weeks at the ranch, but I had 5.5 months at home. And what I realized in those months is that I didn't need to go to the ranch, that everything that was there is here. I never went into a gym. I never seeked out personal training or a nutritionist. And you guys, all of those things were here. If I had just clicked my heels and looked around and plugged myself in, it's all right here. I didn't need The Biggest Loser to get there. It's all here. At the end of the day, I did 20% of my weight loss on the ranch. I did 80% of it at home with my family in this community with the tools and resources that are here. And sometimes we just don't see it.
And so out of that experience, then you started these boot camps in Hudson.
Yeah.
And that's grown. You've been doing them for 2.5 years, right?
I've been leading Losing with Lisa boot camps down at Riverfront for 2.5 years now. And that came to be out of a conversation I had with Matt, the owner of Riverfront. After it was all over, he's like, why didn't you come here? Like, I've been here all along. Like, why did you come in here before? And I was like, you know what? I was afraid. I was afraid of gym people, and I was afraid of looking silly. I was afraid of failing. I was afraid of all of these things, and it kept me from coming in here. And he looked at me and goes, my heart is just to help those people. How do I get them in my gym? Can you help me? And so that's how boot camp became. That's how it was birthed, and just to create a safe place where people feel safe in the gym. And
about how many people do you think have been a part of that?
I think in the 2.5 years, I've worked with almost 400 people on a weight loss journey of 5, 10, 20, 100 pounds.
Men and women.
Men and women, young and old. What is the beautiful thing about the community that has happened at boot camp, it's all fitness levels, all levels of age, all level, like men, women, like it's been such a blessing to work with just such a the vastness of this community. It's been
And
awesome.
I watched the last year's finale, and wasn't there a couple from Baldwin that were part of boot camp when the husband and wife each lost 100 pounds?
Yeah.
Right.
So Mitch and Megan, they're incredible. They've been doing a couple of boot camps, a couple of fit clubs, and they have each lost over 100 pounds and maintained it. They were one of my very first, and I'm just so proud of them. It was so awesome to be able to bring them into the Biggest Loser experience with me. So that was
One
awesome.
of the stipulations in doing the boot camps was that you wouldn't do them unless you could also teach about nutrition.
Yeah,
Those go hand in hand.
Nutrition is the biggest part. I think too often we try to outwork out a bad diet, or we think if I work out, I can eat what I want. And with the biggest thing that Delvette taught me is that you win this in the kitchen. So when I sat down and me and Matt started to really develop this, I was like, I'm not just a boot camp workout. Like I have to teach nutrition. So I sit down after we work out every week, and we just sit down and we talk about what is a carbohydrate? Why do we eat it? What is a fat? And why do we do? How many calories should I be eating? Why is water so important? Why is it important for me not to give up on myself? Why is it important to plan ahead? And if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, and all of these things. I think it all goes so much together, but really at the end of the day, it's all about what we're putting in our body. Delvette said it. He goes, a lot of crazy things that are going to happen on this ranch. Like, they're going to take away the kitchen, they're going to take away the gym, they're going to play a lot of games with us. He goes, here's the deal. We could come up to this gym and I could work you up for 8, 10, 12 hours every single day, and you go into that house and you eat whatever you want. You're never going to lose the weight you want. He goes, but on the other hand, if they lock down this gym and I can make you sit in a stool in the kitchen, but I get to control everything that you put in your mouth, I can get you to lose a ton of weight. It's all what you eat. You cannot work out a bad diet.
So why don't you name just a few of those food rules that you have? You've got like
15. So when I came home from the ranch, my husband was wise, and he said, all right, before the rest of the world comes rushing in, before my bags were even out of the car, he said, why don't you sit down at the table and just write down all the things that you learned from the nutritionists and the doctors and your trainers that seem to just keep popping out. So I just started writing. Like, make sure I'm eating 5 to 6 small meals a day. Don't exceed my calorie budget. Make sure I'm drinking a gallon of water. Make sure I don't eat after 7:30. And just start writing them down. And at the end of that little session, I had 15 kind of food rules. I'm like, all right, I got 5.5 months left, or 5 months left. This is what they said. This is what kept bubbling up in my heart. I'm gonna follow these 15 food rules to a T, and I saw great success with them.
Awesome.
Yeah, my brother was like, one day, he's like, okay, I want to do this, but I don't want to follow 15 food rules. Give me 3. Mm-hmm. And I said, all right, cut out all of your cut out processed food, to the best of your ability, especially no white flour, no white sugar. Drink a gallon of water every day and never eat after 7:30. He followed those 3 to a T and lost a significant amount of weight. So, yeah.
So in your boot camps, you have people set goals, and
Yes.
then even a stretch goal. What is that?
Yep. So I'm all about goal setting. Like, okay, this is what I want to do. Like, okay, and this is reasonable. But I also I believe in dreaming big. I'm all about dream big. Like if this is obtainable, why not this? So for me, I have a goal of doing a triathlon, right? So I've done a sprint, but I know I need to do an Olympic distance. That's on my radar. But if that's my goal, why not stretch it? Could I do a half Ironman? That's crazy. Nah. If I can do this, surely I could get there. I tell people, 4% a month is a great weight loss goal. So in a 2-month boot camp, what if 8% is your goal, but maybe 10% is your stretch goal? Always dream big. I'm all about dreaming big.
Awesome. That's great. And then there should be some rewards as well when you do reach that.
I definitely am all about non-food rewards. Non-food rewards. And they don't have to cost a lot, but there's something in investing time, energy, and resources in yourself to keep you on task. So, I mean, a non-food reward could be as simple as going out for a cup of tea with a good friend, or buying yourself a new book, or a manicure or a pedicure, or the permission to sleep in on a Saturday. You know, but to make sure that you're like, okay, I'm gonna do this, this, and this, and when I do those things, I get this. You know,
and even to have that visual reminder too. You encourage people to make a vision board so that those goals are visually in front of them.
Yep. And that came out of, I think, one, to put the visual images in front of you so you can see, like, this is what I want and this is where I'm going, so you can see it. There was one, I remember a couple weeks in, Delvet looked at me and he goes, can you see yourself at finale? Have you taken a second to vision what you're going to look like at when you're at your goal? And I was like, no. Because I need you to do that. I need you to visualize you fit and healthy and strong. Like I want you to see yourself that way. And he goes, so he made me take a second and see myself that way, because I've never ever looked at myself that way. He goes, you see yourself that way? He goes, all right, now every time you come to this gym, bring that girl and we're gonna get some stuff done. And then out of that came, okay, I need to put inspirational quotes in, and if I want to ride a bike, a picture of a bike, if I, the 70.2 Ironman seal out there, so that I can see that these things are obtainable.
Yeah, I think a person's self-esteem has a lot to do with it. I remember you also making your boot campers look in the mirror and say what?
You got to look in it. I am worth the time, energy, and resources to get to my goal. Too often we forget that we're worth it. That we let other things and other agendas and all these like to-do lists come before ourselves. Like we're not worth it. And it's a big deal. You need to look at yourself once in a while, on a daily basis, and say, I'm worth it.
What about that struggle with the scale and weighing in?
Weighing in. I'm all about weighing in to keep a accountability, so you can know where you're at. But you can't let the scale dictate your life, or you'll always be defeated. Like, because results aren't going to be consistent. You have to be in it for the long haul. As opposed to daily and weekly weighing in. I know some people who have good results with weighing in every day, but I don't think that's the bulk of people. I'm a firm believer in once a week weigh-ins, like weighing in once a week or even bi-weekly, just to see where you're at. Because I think the scale can be discouraging. I think sometimes you can step on the scale, you see results, you're like, and you can relax a little bit, and then you quickly get off track. You step on the scale and you see it go the wrong way, and you're quickly discouraged, and you're finding yourself eating out of discouragement. Too often we let the scale dictate our head, and so I think we got to stop that. We got to start.
I think we both feel strongly about accountability, but that doesn't have to be just on the scale. It's about having somebody to work out with. Like you invite somebody to, come and work out with you because you'll show up, because somebody is there waiting for you. I'm the same way, and so accountability that way is really important.
I think so. I tell people that everyone's like, what's your magic trick? And like, there's not a magic trick. Like, we eat right, we move more, but the magic of boot camp is that it gets a group of like-minded people with like-minded goals together, and then all of a sudden you're texting each other like, how you doing? What's going on? Are you okay? Like, let's go for a walk. And when you start to get in, like anything in life, a network, people who are journeying together, you're way more successful. I even at like finales of every boot camp, I encourage people to stay plugged in somewhere, because when you are plugged in, you're less likely to fall away. Accountability is key. It really is, and to have an accountability partner, accountability group, to just keep moving. When I was in my at-home time, I would set my workout schedule, and I would texted out to like a dozen people. I'm like, this is my workout schedule. I'd love it if any of you would like to come and work out with me. But don't tell me if you're coming or not. And I would show up to every workout in case one of those 12 people were going to come. I won't stand somebody else up, but I'll sadly stand myself up sometimes. So just get there. And sometimes the way to do that is tell others you're going to be there.
And your Facebook page is really helpful in that way too. To everybody in your group can encourage one another, throw recipes out there, throw workouts out there, just quotes, inspirational quotes, things like that.
I found so I have a bunch of different groups running, and I've seen a bunch of different dynamics with different groups. I will tell you my groups that act. I have a private Facebook page that I put them in. The ones that use that and are sharing what they're doing and their recipes, and they're sharing their struggles and this. Shoot pictures of the donuts on the table at work. Like, this is what I'm going to walk by all day. They get strength from the group to say you can walk by them. Like, and the groups that use that see a lot of succse. Yeah.
So let me ask you, what's your least favorite exercise?
My least favorite exercise. I like to get in and get it done. Right. So yoga is my least favorite exercise. Like. I'm in the middle of class, and I'm like, oh, yeah, can't we just do burpees? Like, which sounds really crazy. That's really sure. Like, can't we just do burpees and be done? That or anything that requires any sort of rhythm, because I have none.
Okay.
So like in a Zumba or a step class, I'm always the girl going, even in cardio kickboxing, I'm always the girl going the wrong way. Doesn't mean I don't do it, but it's not my favorite.
And maybe you mentioned this, but my last question is, so what's on your bucket list? What's next for you?
What's on my bucket list? I have a couple things on my bucket list still. One was right out of the gate. I was, like I said, in high school, I was the girl that like walked the mile. I wasn't about it. And so we had the presidential physical fitness testing. And I was always like, you know what, Mr. President, you can keep your patch. I'm good. I'm good. Like, I don't need a patch. And now I want to earn the presidential physical fitness patch.
Do they still have to climb the ropes?
It's the pull-up that's keeping me from my patch.
Oh, okay.
So I got the shuttle run, I got the mile run, I got the V-sit reach, which I always had, the sit-ups. And the one thing I can't get is that stinking pull-up, but I'll get it.
Okay.
I'll get it. So I'm going to do a pull-up. On my bucket list is that half Ironman. It's not going to be this year. I know that I'm scheduled to do the sprint try here again. I'm going to plan for next year an Olympic try, and once I get that under my belt, my goal is to get that half Ironman in the next few years. But that's that 2 mile swim is what's heavy on my heart.
Well, good luck.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much for being here today. I know you inspired me personally, but a lot of other men and women in our community. So thank you very much, Lisa.
Thank you.
I want to thank you for watching. This is the end of my first Western Wisconsin Journal segment, so I ask you to just stay tuned for next month and see who my guest is going to be then.